Welcome back on one of the Better Trouble Plays YouTube channel. Today is Monday. It is February 17th. I'm back bringing out some more college basketball plays for you guys. Wish I could just crawl underneath a rock and die. That's been the kind of day it's been on Sunday. 0-5 today, but we're going to talk about the games because I have to. Let's start with Ohio State. Back and forth game. Very entertaining game to watch. Michigan had, I think, largest lead of 6 or 7. Ohio State had a large lead of like 3, but it was back and forth the entire game. Ohio State 80-80, going into a timeout with a minute 56 left. Those are the games we were supposed to win at home, taking the money line with the home team. Did not happen that way. Danny Wolf, a couple big free throws, Golden, a couple big offensive rebounds with 55 seconds left, get an offensive tip in. Ohio State answered with the corner in the 3, gets the defensive stop, and then Bruce Thornton, our leader of Ohio State. I'm not an Ohio State fan, but your leader, Ohio State fans, kind of breaks Danny Wolf. He slips, and he's got a 3-footer, little floater, and he comes up a foot short, and he was wide open. That's a tough one to miss. Would have probably went to overtime, depending on the crowd. Feel like Ohio State probably wouldn't have won that game in overtime as well, and we would have hit the Bruce Thornton points because he scored 17. That 3-footer wide open that he airballed would have cashed the over on the player prop. So that was a really tough shot for him to miss. Either way, good game. Tough that we lost that one. Memphis, we'll start there. We'll go there next, I guess. Minus 7.5 is what I got it at. Up by 8, and then from there it was all Wichita State. Late in the second half, I think they were up by 8 with 8 or 9 minutes left in the game. Wichita State forces overtime. Wichita State wins the game outright. So just a bad pick there by my part on Memphis. Kadary Richmond, also a bad pick. No scoring for St. John's early in this game. Kadary Richmond was a big part of that, scoring 7 in the first 10. Then he kind of turned it on the second half as well. I think he scored 17 total points. But here's another kick in the pants. St. John's minus 6.5, up by 8, 6 seconds left. You'd think, well, Creighton's going to take a 3. No, they decided to go for the uncontested layup with 4 seconds left to cut the game from 8-6. So another game that we should have won. Easily could have been a 3-2 day or a 4-1 day, but it is what it is. 0-5, and I'm just going to have to eat it and do better on Monday. We do have a couple good games on Monday. Not a lot of games to look at. Also, sorry for the sun in the background. We're supposed to get a foot of snow on Monday night and Tuesday, so I'm thinking it's just extra sunny today because of that. But sorry about the sun if that hurts your eyes. We're going to be talking about a couple games here. Kansas State going up against Utah. Talked about Kansas State, I think, a little bit on Saturday. Didn't take them as a pick, but Kansas State, they went on that massive winning streak. It was West Virginia, then they beat Iowa State, then they beat Kansas, then they beat Arizona. 4 top 25 teams. They sprinkled in some wins against some poor teams in that span of time as well. But now they're coming off a loss going up against BYU. That game was on the road. It was 40-22 in the first half. Multiple people said that was BYU's best half they've played all season long. Kansas State did come back in the second half. They played with a lot more energy. They played with a lot more hustle as well, getting some rebounds. They got severely out-rebounded in that first half. Second half, it was more even, and they were more aggressive on the rebounding side. And I think this team is still very competitive. I don't think they're a bad team. People were saying, oh, Kansas State, back to their normal selves, back to a bad team. They showed a lot of fight in the second half, cutting it to 10 points. They almost covered the spread, lost by 15, but BYU made a 3 and a couple free throws under a minute left to make it look worse than it really was. But Kansas State did cut that game to 10 after having a really bad first half. Nobody could score. I think they bounced back in this game. I'm going to take them with the points. I would take them on the money line, but I'm a little bit scared after the 0-5 days. So we're just going to try to get something on the board with them with the points. I think they do win this game outright. Of course, Utah coming off their own big-time win going up against Kansas. That game was at home, 74-67. The game was 60-60, and Zeke Mayo went down with an ankle injury. They left Hunter Dickinson on the floor for about 34 minutes too long in this game. He should have sat the entire game. He's worthless out there, just running around, not even fast. It looks like he's in slow motion. Hit one deep 3 with like a minute left in the game, but other than that, he's worthless. This guy, he's the worst. He's the absolute worst. No defensive effort for Kansas. Wouldn't get a hand up on the 3-point line against Utah. We're not going to have that problem for Kansas State. They're going to come out here. They're going to be energetic, and they will guard the 3-point line. Gabe Madsen might be a problem for Kansas State. He just set the 3-point record for Utah last night going up against the Jayhawks. But if you put K-State going up against Jayhawks right now in a neutral court, I would take Kansas State in a heartbeat. So I'm going to take K-State here to get the job done against Utah with the points as the play. Next game, a game that we talked about on Saturday as well with Arizona going up against Houston. They should have won that game. They were up by 7 points, 6 minutes left in the game. They only scored like 1 point the rest of the game, and Houston came back, played good defense, and found a way to get the win. Arizona's now lost back-to-back games. They were on a similar run as Kansas State, winning all those games, and the teams faced off face-to-face. Arizona dropped that game by 3 points. Then they dropped the game against Houston by 4 points. They're going to win this game against Baylor on the road. Again, I'm probably going to just take the points. I do think they're going to be a little bit of an underdog in this game because Baylor will be at home in this one. But Baylor's just not a good team. They had high hopes coming into the season. They were preseason ranked in the top 25. That is no longer the case. They're just not a very good team. They do play a little bit better at home than they do away from home. But this team, they're barely getting wins against teams like West Virginia, teams like Kansas State early in the season, teams like Arizona State played both those games in overtime at home. This is not a very good Baylor team. The one thing they do well, again, they score a lot of points. But that's going up against pretty poor defense. They did beat Kansas this season on their home floor. But again, Kansas is not Kansas. It might have the same name, but it doesn't have the same meaning. This is a really, really bad Jayhawks team, even though they have the most talent they've had in several years. But we're going with Arizona on this one. Back-to-back losers. They find a way to get up off the mat. I'm going to take them with the points as the final play of the day on the game pick side. Let's go to the player props for tomorrow. Going to stick in that Arizona game. Jaden Bradley over his total assists going up against Baylor. Baylor also has a weakness of not playing a lot of defense. 130th in the country this season. Arizona's been looking for a pretty good defensive matchup after going up against Kansas State and Houston. Two pretty good defenses that play with a lot of energy. Kansas State, people say not a very good defense, but whenever you play Kansas State at home, it's a very tough defensive environment to play in. So I think Jaden Bradley will be happy to see this Baylor defense, and I think his entire team will be happy to see this Baylor defense. Jaden Bradley also coming off back-to-back games with 4+ assists. I think this will be set at 3.5 because his assists on the season are 3.8. I think this is a very good opportunity for him to have 4+ assists in this game going up against the weak Baylor defense. His teammates will make some shots for him for the assists. So that's going to be the first play. Second play, Doug McDaniel of Kansas State. This kid has been amazing. 20+ points in 3 of the last 5 games, 15+ points in 3 consecutive games. He was a big reason why K-State made a comeback going up against BYU in the second half. Also, a big reason why Kansas State wasn't down by 25 in the first half because he was scoring, I think he had 9 points or 7 points or 8 points or something like that in the first half. So he scored 22 in that game. He's been pretty good with the assists as well. 11 assists going up against Kansas State. Before that, had 9 going up against Iowa State. He's just playing a lot better ball, just like everybody else for Kansas State. Coleman Hawkins playing a lot better ball. Hawson playing a lot better ball. These guys are starting to play well together. I know they're coming off a loss, but this is a good bounce back spot for Kansas State, and it's a good spot to take Doug McDaniel. I think he will be successful on the outside going up against Utah. If you want to take a look at the threes, I like that. He shot 7 threes going up against BYU, made 3 of them, but I like the over total points. Only scoring 11.9 in the season. I think we will get a decent line, 11.5, 12.5, somewhere around there. So I'm going to take Doug McDaniel as the second play of the day. Let's go take a look at the recap graphic. Let's hope we can get on the good side of things on Monday. Kansas State against the spread, going to take them with the points. I think they win outright. Arizona against the spread, going to take them with the points. I think they win this game outright. Jaden Bradley over his total assists, 3.5 is my guess. Then Doug McDaniel, over his total points as the final play. Doug McDermott. Got Creighton on the mind. Doug McDaniel over 12.5 points. I'm guessing 12.5 points as the final play of the day. Guys, that's going to do it for the college basketball picks and props for Monday, February 17th slate of games. If you guys enjoyed the content, please drop a like this video and subscribe to the channel below. See you guys next video, and thanks for watching.